Okay, let me make sure the speaker's on. Good, good, good. And let me get off that. So this is what if Deku was a werewolf. This is going to be my Halloween special, and I'll probably do it for a week and then end it off since Halloween will definitely already passed since I'm doing this on Halloween. Past Halloween night, I guess. Halloween nightish, I guess you can call it. Anyway, let's get this video out, recorded, uploaded, so I can do what I want to do next. Okay, so how am I going to make Deku a werewolf? Like I said, no, I said it enough. Y'all should already know. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's how I'm going to do it. Deku's about 7, and he already went to the quirk doctor. The quirk doctor stole his quirk because that quirk doctor be sus. Everybody knows. And so they go to the. Ego decides to get Deku away from everybody. So let's make them just a little more rich so this can actually happen. Ego decides to buy a land out in the woods, with no Wi-Fi, no nothing, away from everything. And that's what she does. They live in a small little cabin for about, like, not the rest of their lives, but about for, I said Deku was 7 at the time, so for 2 more years. Deku's 10. He starts exploring the forest. One night he gets lost, even though he's been exploring over 2 years. Let's say it's like a really big forest, so every day he explores more and more. And let's say he came across a cave and he got lost in the cave. And by the time that he got out, it was night. It was a full moon, and he heard something howling. So, and yes, it is a wolf. I just not going to howl like a wolf for nothing. Anyway, so since he heard that, he said, "I should really get home quick." So he starts he starts walking in the way that he thinks home is, and he ends up walking into, like, straight to the wolf. Bad luck, right? Anyway, the wolf is just on a hill howling up at the moon, and Deku starts walking backwards, and he steps on a branch. How ironic, right? Anyway, the wolf turns and looks at him, and it looks at him for a good second, and then it turns back into a human, and it says, wow, I've been a wolf and you still came to the call? Interesting." And he walks the person with a wolf ears and a wolf tail, walks straight up to Deku, looks him dead in his eyes, and says, "You're not a wolf yet, but you'll be a wolf pretty soon." And the wolf bites him and grabs its might as well say his clothes, so I can not say it. Grabs his clothes, puts them on, because yes, if you turn into a wolf, your clothes will rip or disappear. So most wolves just take them off before they, turn. So anyway, if he puts on his clothes and he smells Deku. The reason that he smells Deku is so he can take Deku back to his home. Like, he puts a note in Deku's pocket. It basically says, "You will remember the way to where we met. Meet there at, let's say, 2 tomorrow. 2 a.m. tomorrow." And Iko doesn't let Deku be out past dark because she doesn't know what's in the woods. So when she sees somebody bringing Deku back home, because she was worried, so she was just sitting at the window looking outside waiting for Deku, drinking some coffee, because let's say it's like 1 a.m. because like I said, he doesn't have no Wi-Fi, so he doesn't have a phone, and they don't have no signal out there. They're basically off the grid at this point. They're so far. Oh, and Deku did meet Bakugo, and Bakugo did pick on him, so they really never got along. Ooh, what should this shit be for this? I'll figure out when I get to it. Anyway, Deku still looks up to heroes, just not as much as he used to, since he only remembers bits and pieces from his childhood. Like, cause he slowly started to lose interest when he realized he was quirkless, and he slowly started to believe he can't become a hero. And Inko realized that, and that's why Inko moved out in the woods, I'll say. Because I really just said, wow, they're rich, now let's move them into the woods. So this one makes sense. Might as well give it a backstory. Anyway, so Deku ends up sleeping all day. And Inko wakes him up and says, Deku, are you okay? You was tossing and turning and, like, not actually growling, but, like, she says growling, because I don't know how else to describe it except to moaning. Yeah, moaning would be the word, I guess. Though, like, while you sleep. And he says, yeah, I'm fine, and he gets up, puts on his clothes, basically because he's wearing some shorts, so he asks Inko to get out so he can change, and he puts on his pants and basically this jacket with a regular, like, this plain black t-shirt, and he says, what time is it? And he puts his hands in his pockets, and because this jacket he wears every day, because let's say his dad gave it to him, and I usually make Asashi dead, so let's just say Asashi had to stay in town to work. Even, like, he had to stay in the apartment because his work required Wi-Fi and stuff like that, so he had to stay in town to do his work. Anyway, let me do like that. My video. Let me make sure. Okay, yes, still recording. For some reason, Siri wanted to appear up, like I called upon Siri. Anyway, okay, where was I? Think. Yeah, I was explaining. Okay. Let me see. Let me check my timer on my other phone. This is also why I like doing that. Anyway, okay, 6 minutes. Let's at least get Deku turned into a werewolf before the end of this episode. Well, part episode or whatever. So yeah, Sashi's out in the country. Blah blah. Really, he doesn't matter. Let's just say that. Anyway, so Inko makes some fish, and like she barely even put it on the cooker, and Deku jumps up out of bed so quick, because let's say he woke up at 12 and he thought it was, and he read the note and said 2. Okay, I'll just sleep until 2. So he laid back down in bed and he fell back to sleep. And Inko started to cook lunch around 1. So Deku jumped up out of bed so quick and he said, what are you cooking? And she said, and right before she could say fish, he said, fish. I want some. And she said, okay. I was already making you some, but okay. And he says, I gotta go at 2. I have to meet somebody. And she says, meet somebody? We own this land. Nobody's out here. And he says, yeah, but I met a boy yesterday. His quirk was, I think, a wolf quirk. Yeah. And she says, I should call the cops. And he reminds her we don't have service for Denver. And he's like, oh, yeah. And Deku's like, don't worry, I'll handle it. He wants me to meet him at 2. Because Deku's been working out since he was 7. Ever since they moved out there. because like he has to chop down wood to make firewood and stuff like that. Because like they live completely off the grid. Because let's say Inko is like a nature person, and her quirk is about the environment and stuff. So she's more of a nature person. Let's say that. Let's say her quirk she can talk to animals. Yeah, why not? Anyway, so she says, well, if he's a wolf, I can probably talk to him. And Deku actually does have his mom's quirk, but it's weak. So when he turns into a werewolf, that will actually come and play a lot. Because I do want him to talk to animals, because this seems cool, and why not? Anyway, so he goes and meets the dude at 2, and the dude's just sitting there at the rock looking at a waterfall. Excuse me. Just sitting there looking at a waterfall, and then Deku like starts approaching him, and the dude jumps up, turns around, and says, "You actually came. Wow, I'm shocked since you have a pretty weak quirk." And he's like, "But I'm quirkless." And the guy says, "Oh, my name is," I didn't think of a name. Tetsu. Yeah, Tetsu. No, his last name will be. Ooh, oh, I didn't think of this. Ray Tetsu. Well, his last name will be Tetsu. No, his last name. Yeah, his last name will be Ray, and his first name will be Tetsu. Because I want Deku to call him Tetsu. So Deku says, Ray, and that's kind of boring. Can I just call you Tetsu? And he says, yeah, I really don't care. Because I'm going to make him more of like a lazy type dude. And there's going to be werewolf classes. And what Deku got bit by is a high priest werewolf. So that made Deku a high priest beta werewolf alpha. Because yeah, I'm going to make him alpha. And the dude says, I kind of don't want to lead a pack. Can you be the pack leader? And Deku's like, pack leader. And I'll say Deku likes reading up on animals, learning about animals. And he says, that's a wolf thing. So you act like a wolf. And he says, but I'm not a wolf, so I can't be a I can't be a leader. And he says, yeah, you are. You're a werewolf. I bit you, remember? And he like pulls down he walks up to Deku, pulls down like Deku's collar and says, see, right there. And he shows him the bite mark, and he says, wait, when did I get there? And he says, last night I bit you, remember? And Deku is like, wait. And he sits there, he thinks about it, and he says, you did. Why did you bite me? And Deku like starts yelling at him, pushing him back onto the cave, like back up the mountain. And right before he falls, Deku catches him, making Deku fall into the water, making Deku pass out again, making Tetsu go into his werewolf form, to not his like full out half human half werewolf form, but just make his ears and tail come out, because that gives him like speed enhancement and stuff like that. Don't feel like explaining all of it. It gives him that, and he pulls Deku out of the water and gives him CPR. Deku wakes up and says, let me guess, I fell into the water because I pushed you up the mountain and then catched you. Great. And he says, yeah. And he says, anyway, back to you having a quirk. Your quirk. He says, I am a werewolf. And Tetsu's quirk isn't a werewolf quirk. His quirk is actually to scan quirks no matter how weak or damp they are and awaken them and give them a one-time enhancement. And anybody that he bites will also get that enhancement. Same with anybody in Deku's pack will basically get that enhancement and get that quirk. Basically, if you're in a pack with Deku, you share your quirk with Deku, and Deku shares your quirk with his quirk with you. So you basically can talk to animals too. Anyway, dang it, time is up and it's November the 1st. Great. Anyway, my goal is to get to 1,000 by next year. So January the 1st. So in 2021, I guess it would be called something like that. 2021, I want to be at 1,000. That is my goal. Anyway, this is Shadow Master signing out, doing my What If Deku Was a Werewolf Halloween special. And I'm only going to be doing this for a week. Don't know if I said that. Anyway, goodbye.